Horror. What is horror? Horror, it's scary, hence horror, it's fun. But then, why is it so hard to find horror anime? So sleepy.
Good night. Yes, it's a necessity. Good night. Good night.
Wait, come back, you bastard. Oh, you found the definition. A piece of fiction which shocks or even frightens the reader, or perhaps induces a feeling of repulsion or loathing. But we know that. Wait, where are you now? It's useless. Looking through the horror tag genre on your database of preference is enough to wonder why are many of these titles here to begin with. Shingeki no Kyojin as horror.
Spooky titans are scary.
Oh, so you can talk. Oh, why is Tokyo Ghoul there to begin with?
Nothing more frightening than edge.
So it's just having some zombies or sprinkling some gore in it enough to be tagged as horror. Then is Zombieland Saga a horror anime?
Yes, the spooky.
Under that logic, Toshi Densetsu is freaking scary.
Yes.
Ninja Scroll? Berserk? Well, okay. If we talk about the 2016 one, that's f***ing scary, but for different reasons. Magus Bride? What the f***?
No cursing.
Parasite is one that could be watched as horror, but it never felt like that was the goal. Good one though. What about Monster? A classic, yes, but horror? Isn't it more of a thriller? Alexa, define horror.
Horror focuses on the scares, a genre where the audience wants to see almost in a morbid voyeuristic way how the characters face the situation they find themselves in.
I see. Alexa, define thriller.
A thriller aims for the thrills, right? Solving a mystery, generate suspense, etc., etc. In the climax, information or identities are usually revealed. And stop calling me Alexa. You mangy mutt.
Whoa, okay. What about horror thrillers?
No. Simplify things. Supernatural, horror, it's psychological, thriller.
Wait, no. Perfect Blue will be psychological horror, hence a thriller? What about Silent Hill, you cunt? Or Jacob's Staircase? I'd still call Perfect Blue a horror film. That shit is morbid. I don't like your definition, Kurisutina.
Don't call me Kurisutina.
Even less now that, in horror, the line between physical, supernatural, and psychological gets so blurred, making the horror more efficient, more visceral.
What about the classic differentiation? Thriller is too nervous, while horror is too scary.
It could make more sense until you start questioning your feelings and sexuality. But can't think of a scary anime, even when going through which has a richer tag system. Many of the titles listed don't seem to have as a goal. Maybe some of them have like one creepy scene per season, but is that enough to be crowned as horror? That will leave us with contrived mixes like psychological battle horror, adventure romantic comedy, isekai seinen, hentai educational anime. It would be like tagging Gintama as horror because of one creepy scene or disposable art. So, leaving all the amalgamation of genres aside, what does it take for an anime to be considered horror?
Tropes!
Oh, come on. We have had good horror mangas. Maybe you don't get frightened by them, but they are definitely disturbing or contain good enough ideas to send chills through your spine.
I guess horror is not adaptable to anime.
Who the freak say that?
Maybe the genre has an array so diverse that its defining traits have become so diluted with so many subgenres that begs the question if those tagged as such are correct or what they meant to begin with. Hence, maybe 2D presents an obstacle in horror.
What the hell are you? I mean, it has been done before. Paranoia Agent is great at building tension. Wait, that will be a thriller. Well, what about Mononoke? Well, more of a paranormal mystery thriller than actual horror. God damn it! I know, Dorohedoro. has a great world inspired by horror. The heart is in the right place. Just that scene on episode 3 in the morgue in that dark hallway is just so cool. It's just so creepy. It's just so... But again, spooks are not the goal.
We know that horror is hard to pull off. Even some classics aren't really scary. But the imagery, effects, ambience, aesthetic, and premise is what makes them impactful. So how would you transfer that into...
I'm not here to define genres nor to show how to adapt horror with opie and panchiras, but to complain. Why does it have to be so hard to go filtering titles per genre? Horror is the main victim of this, since almost everything qualifies as horror, as almost everything qualifies as pop. And isn't that sad?
Horror denies simplicity of objective categorization. I've read that in a cookie.
What the? So it can't be scary? What are you going on about?
Maybe in anime, the horror elements are open for interpretation. Fear is subjective, hence, it's up to the viewer to get scared by what little is shown.
That doesn't make any sense.
For example, To Love Ru is a scary show about a guy who gets cursed when a celestial being falls into his bathroom. This curse attracts all kinds of bad juju his way. Then, more and more cosmic beings come, making his life miserable. Of the curse is also breaking almost every rule of moral conduct. Spooky. See? Interpreted as horror.
That's bullcrap, and To Love Ru is not even tagged as horror.
A boy gets brutally murdered just to be turned into a zombie by a necromancer.
Hey, that sounds
And
nice.
then becomes a man who shows you to fight
Son of a bitch.
a broken girl who identifies more as an object than a human ends up being raised by folklore spirits.
That's a comedy.
What about a bunch of boys stuck in a society? Horrible, horrible society. Ooh.
Are you serious?
Or what about getting stuck in a cycle of misunderstandings, living your relationships in perpetual stasis for a whole season? Or needing to get intimate with multiple mythological species in order to earn your living? Or the most horrifying idea of all, not getting a new season, leaving everything inconclusive. See? Horror is everywhere in anime.
I hate you.
Okay, what about this? A college student starts working in a mansion of an aristocrat family as their servant. Everything seems fishy since the moment he steps in. While getting acquainted with the mistress of the house and the rest of the staff, suddenly, one of the maids gets a stroke.
Sort of.
But they all ignore it and go on their daily routine. He starts witnessing the strange behavior of the family. A maid asks him to leave while he still can. As time goes by, he starts losing his mind, and things start getting out of control. Nightmares settle in. One night, he dreams of the mistress getting killed, just to wake up and find out that she has been replaced by one of the maids. This is not a family. This is a stage of puppets. Who's pulling the strings? In search for such answers, he stumbles with Lovecraftian horrors, such as the shape-shift and blood.
Stop with the spoilers. That sounds neat.
Well, that's a hentai.
God damn it. Wait, is it tagged as horror though?
No, it's a hentai. Will we ever be able to find the promised horror anime? And if we find it, will we even like it? Or will it be a simple meh?
I don't like you.
You are sleeping. You do not want to believe. You are sleeping.